Hello there. Have you ever wondered about the rising cost of food lately, or even the possibility of a food crisis? It's a growing concern for many. Factors like a worldwide fertilizer shortage, supply problems, an energy crisis, and a shortage of agricultural workers are all contributing to the instability of our food supplies. Add to this the skyrocketing inflation rate, and we could be looking at a real food crisis. We'd all like to think that the powers that be have this under control, but recent trends suggest otherwise. So if we can't rely on the big corporations and governments, what can we do? We can start by taking steps on an individual level to prepare for potential hard times. That's why today I'm going to share with you my top 6 crops that you can grow at home, potentially saving you from starvation. So, without further ado, here are the 6 top crops you can grow at home to save you from starving. First on the list is none other than the humble potato. This unassuming tuber has a rich history, with its roots tracing back to the Andes Mountains of South America. But perhaps one of the most notable moments in potato history was the Great Famine in Ireland back in 1845. It was a time of immense hardship where over 1 million people faced starvation due to a devastating potato disease. The Irish had become heavily dependent on potatoes as they were easy to grow and packed with calories. But when late blight, a fungal disease, wiped out the crops, it left the population in a dire state. This event serves as a stark reminder of the importance of diversity in our crops. By growing different varieties of potatoes, we can limit the risk of a single disease wiping out an entire harvest. Today we have a wealth of potato varieties at our disposal, many of which have been bred for disease resistance. But it's not just about what you grow, it's also about how you grow it. Potatoes can be grown in a myriad of ways, each with its own benefits. They can be planted directly in the ground, hilled up, or grown in trenches. If space is a concern, you can grow them in boxes or containers. The versatility of potato cultivation means it can be adapted to almost any space, budget, or property size. Let's also not forget the nutritional value of potatoes. They're a great source of carbohydrates which provide the energy we need to keep going. In a survival situation, having a high-calorie food source like potatoes could make all the difference. So while potatoes may have evolved from a main to a side dish on our plates, during tough times, they could very well reclaim their spot as the star of the show. And let's be honest, who doesn't love a good potato chip? With their high-calorie content, potatoes could very well become your main source of sustenance during tough times. They're a true survival crop, and a worthy addition to any home garden. Moving on, the second crop on our list is corn. You may be wondering why corn? Well, let me take you back to the potato famine of the mid-19th century. Amidst the devastating loss of potato crops, the United States sent tons of corn over to Ireland to help the starving population. It wasn't bourbon they made, though that would have been something, but it was corn chips and other corn-derived foods that helped them survive. Corn, wheat, and rice. These are the 3 biggest plant-based food sources worldwide. But here's the kicker. Unlike its counterparts, corn can be grown effectively even on a smaller scale and still produce a significant amount of food. That's right, you don't need acres of land to grow corn. A small garden patch can yield a substantial harvest. Now let's talk about the benefits of growing corn. First off, corn has what we call a compact and upright growing habit. This means it doesn't sprawl out and take up a lot of space. Instead, it reaches for the sky, leaving plenty of room around it. This feature makes it a great choice for those of us with limited space. Next, corn can be interplanted with other crops. Ever heard of the Three Sisters method? It's an ancient Native American technique where corn, beans, and squash are grown together. The corn acts as a natural trellis for the beans. The beans help to fix nitrogen in the soil, and the squash acts as a living mulch, preventing weed growth and preserving moisture. It's a beautiful example of symbiosis in nature, and it could be happening right in your backyard. So, you see, corn is not just a staple food for many cultures worldwide, but also a fantastic crop for home gardening. Despite its small size, corn is a powerhouse crop that can yield a lot of food even in a small garden. So why not give corn a chance to shine in your home garden? With potatoes and corn covered, let's move on to the remaining 4 crops on our list. Number 3 on the list is beans. These little powerhouses of nutrition have been feeding humans for over 7,000 years. They're not just full of protein and fiber, but they also have an added benefit. They're nitrogen fixers. This means they help to improve the soil where they're grown, making it more fertile for future crops. They come in many varieties, from the humble green bean to the protein-packed chickpea, and they can all be easily grown at home. The key to success with beans is to ensure they have plenty of sun and well-drained soil. Moving on to number 4, tomatoes. Yes, technically a fruit, but we're not here for a botany lesson. Tomatoes are a staple in many diets worldwide, and for good reason. They're rich in vitamins A and C and the antioxidant lycopene, which is believed to have numerous health benefits. Tomatoes are also incredibly versatile in the kitchen, finding their way into everything from salads to sauces. As for growing them, they're a warm weather crop that prefers well-drained soil and plenty of sunlight. They can be grown in the ground or in containers, making them perfect for those with limited space. Next up at number 5 we have squash. This broad category includes everything from zucchinis to pumpkins. Squash are nutrient-dense, high in vitamins A and C, and are a great source of fiber. They're also incredibly versatile in the kitchen, and let's not forget about pumpkin pie. When it comes to growing squash, they're a warm season crop that likes well-drained soil and plenty of space to sprawl. Last, but certainly not least, at number 6 we have leafy greens. Think spinach, kale, and lettuce. These nutrient powerhouses are rich in vitamins A, C, and K, as well as iron and calcium. They're also incredibly easy to grow at home, making them a great choice for novice gardeners or those with limited space. Because they're cool weather crops, they can be grown in the early spring or fall, and some varieties can even tolerate a light frost. So, from beans that improve your soil to tomatoes that can be grown in containers, from squash that sprawls across your garden to leafy greens that can tolerate a frost, these 4 crops are not only nutritious and versatile, but they're also relatively easy to grow at home. With a bit of planning, some basic gardening knowledge, and a little elbow grease, you can create a home garden that could potentially save you from starvation in a food crisis. And there you have it. The remaining 4 crops that could save you from starvation in a food crisis. So there you have it, 6 top crops to grow at home to save you from starving. We've explored the humble potato, a versatile and calorie-rich food, and corn, a compact crop that can be grown effectively on a small scale. We've also delved into 4 other fantastic crops, each with their own unique benefits. These crops are not just about sustenance, they're about self-reliance and resilience in the face of uncertainty. They can be grown in your backyard, providing a buffer against potential food crises and offering a sense of security. Growing your own food isn't just practical, it's empowering. You're not just planting seeds, you're sowing peace of mind. Remember, taking steps on an individual level can make a big difference. Stay prepared, stay fed. Until next time, happy gardening.